Good morning, everybody. Hi, friends over the rainbow. Welcome to this meditation session. Let's begin by taking refuge in generating the four immeasurable thoughts. Until I have reached full awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Standard. By means of beneficial actions such as generosity, may I attain enlightenment in order to benefit beings. Until I have reached full awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Standard. By means of beneficial actions such as generosity, may I attain enlightenment in order to benefit beings. Until I have reached full awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Standard. By means of beneficial actions such as generosity, may I attain enlightenment in order to benefit beings. May all beings find happiness in the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering in the cause of suffering. May they not be separated from the perfect happiness that is free from suffering. May they abide in great equanimity, free from attachment and aversion towards near and far. May all beings find happiness in the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering in the cause of suffering. May they not be separated from the perfect happiness that is free from suffering. May they abide in great equanimity, free from attachment and aversion towards near and far. May all beings find happiness in the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering in the cause of suffering. May they not be separated from the perfect happiness that is free from suffering. May they abide in great equanimity, free from attachment and aversion towards the other. Let's first take a moment to fully acknowledge the freedom we're enjoying now, the leisure, the time we've decided to carve out of our busy life and really taste the freedom of it. Now we can pay attention to an essential point that we probably will notice otherwise. We notice the contact with the ground, whether we sit on a chair directly on the floor. We sense this beautiful stability we gain from the generous offer of the earth. Our hands can be resting palms down, flat on our knee, or in a meditation gesture, the right hand in the left, both resting in the left. Be sure that our back is straight and slightly outstretch our shoulders. And in doing so, we can sense that our back is getting straighter, but also we sense tension, maybe around the abdomen. And as we breathe in and out, we sense the center of gravity of our body slightly below the ankle. And then we just drop everything with the breath, drop everything until the contact or very slightly expands. Now you're grounded. The mouth is relaxed, maybe in a half smile. The tongue is lightly touching the palate. And that's for the body. The gaze is directed straight ahead, slightly downward. And a soft and open vision of what is directly in front of us. We notice, or we don't stare at, whatever is in front of us. Breath comes and goes in a very natural fashion that we don't need to repeat. And when needed, we can use this movement of the breath that's always present to act as a reference point toward which we come back when we notice where the important turn of thoughts and carry away to the past and the future. But otherwise, this is a stream, a thread of mindfulness that we can hold on to in a very light manner and follow as we breathe in. Now, as far as the mind is concerned, mind is a cognizant quality that knows and perceives everything. There's no way to stop the flow of mental items. Actually, it's not even a necessity. We don't need to suppress them violently. Yet we don't need to promote them. Thoughts arise, sense perception arises. And what we classify is not so much the flow of mental items, but it is the old habit of fixing, evaluating, organizing the flow. In a way, you give your mind a break. Just let it be in the pasture of spaciousness, like you would let your horse in a huge pasture be. If the pasture is big enough, the horse will calm down. There's nothing to do. If it's too small, if it's too tight, the horse will be nervous and will try to run away. So no pressure on the mind, no obligation. Relax. You're not in charge. Just notice as it arises or not. And if it arises, how it disappears. And appreciate the spaciousness in which all this movement takes place. Sense that spaciousness and the comfort that comes with it when the mind is not directed. Feel free to move or stretch a bit if you need. In this age where it seems that everything is going on a very quick pace of change and transformations, that things we hold for sacred, things that we hold for permanent values, just go with the flood. If you read the news without being horrified, you can be aware that everywhere in the world things are just like changing. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's like definitely changing. You know, this sort of reminded me of what my teacher again, Rinpoche, told me once. He said, you know, if I was in a position where I could cry and feel that I'm a victim, I would have so many good reasons to do that. Lost my life, my country, I lost everything, my family, with the communist invasion of Tibet. And so he said I could cry. Everything was gone. Everything disappeared. And then when he crossed the border from southern Tibet on his way, sort of escape from Tibet, and he came to Bhutan, as the moment he passed the border, he had absolutely nothing. He was only wearing his petticoat. You know, like Tibetan monks, they have a robe, and then under that they have a petticoat. He didn't even have his robe anymore. You know, Russia used to lost everything. So he crossed the border with his petticoat, not a book, not a dime, nothing. And he said, that was the best day of my life. Okay. And that makes me think now, like a sort of like a regular contemplation. What would be left when everything falls apart? What everything that we hold as the basis of our existence, which is to be washed away. What would be left? And I'm not talking about death at this point because it's a radical transition, but I'm talking just about life before death. You know, we hold, you know, like the Constitution, we hold this truth to be, you know, like permanent and so on and so forth. Not. Everything is changing. So the question that I ask myself all the time is that, am I ready for that? What is the thing that will stay when everything else will go away? You know, I have a lot of books in my study. If you take them all away, that would make space for more books. But if there is no publisher anymore, if there's no paper, if there is no printing, I have a computer with a lot of information inside that are to me very important and vital. Just a sound flare, and all is gone. Your paper dharma, your electronic dharma, whoosh. Authoritarian regime, and this is going to be now the Communist Party's meeting room. Like the Uyghur are fine if they read the Quran and pray, even in their home. Okay. Whoosh. I don't know how I would cope with my favorite brand of coffee not being available, or my super posh Austrian chocolate not available. Hurricane Ian tear the roof of a warehouse in Florida for 17,000 bars of my favorite chocolate ware. There was no way to get access to them anymore. Okay, can you survive? Your house taken away. Flood, lightning, repossessed, bank, whatever. So the question is, it's kind of a basic question is, what is my ground and certainty that will not be washed away by external conditions? What is it? If you think about everything, and everything goes away, everything you hold for truth, it's just gone. What is left? The only thing that's left is what you have gained certainty about. The only thing that's left is certainty, the confidence. The Dharma of books is gone. The teachers deported. When I was in France in the 70s, and then was this young guy who was new to the center, and then he received a blessing cord during an empowerment, and he didn't know. It was kind of naive, and he said, "What is this blessing cord for?" And I said, "Well, don't you know? It is just like the yellow staff of the Jews. When they come after us to round us up, they will find us with a blessing, the red cord we have around the neck, and then we just like yank it out." Okay, so when the Dhamma is gone, the center is gone, the house is gone, teachings are gone, the words are gone, and the teachers are gone, what are you left with? And how come that Gendin Rinpoche, when crossing the border with his underwears, said, "This is the best day of my life"? Because he saw inherently inherent to all these outer signs of my security and my enjoyment. He saw the chains and the ball at the end of the chain. He saw that how much he was prisoner of all this. And even, he left home when he was 7, going to the monastery, served his uncle, was a great yogi, and then went into retreat, and then spent most of his life going from one hermitage to another in the high mountains of Tibet. Can't say he was busy with the samsara, but still, there's a lot of things connecting him. Like, would it be just to connecting him to a culture, a way of thinking, a location, attachment to the homeland? And he was liberated by the graceful intervention of the Communist Party invasion of his land. But do we have the strength right now? That's a question, I ask myself every day. What is left when everything else is gone? And then if I really look inside, the certainty about the nature of reality and the nature of my mind that I gain through observation, introspection, meditation, again and again. Looking at the world, it appears through the driving force of the karma of beings, it coalesces and stays for a while and then moves and then transforms and so on. All of this is constantly shifting. There is no solid ground on which you can rest. Nothing. Provisory. Like these guys who in Canada that are loggers, where the logs are on the river. It's really amazing to see that. I don't know if you've seen that. The logs are floating, big logs, and those guys are on the logs and they're moving from one log to another, jumping and liberating a log, maybe that's caught on the bank and so on. They're like us. They're on a log which spins on a moving river. But they cultivated a confidence in their capacity to find their balance and do their job in that balance. So that's what is left. I believe that's what is left when everything falls apart. You can still walk on a log that's turning as it floats away and move to another one when needed to do what has to be done. So that's what is left. That's the independence I have gained through my own wisdom about the nature of reality, the nature of my mind, and so on. First aspect, know your mind. Second aspect, genuine compassion. Not an emotional compassion, but cries because everybody has been hurt and so on. Yeah, everybody's been hurt. But mostly what they suffer from is the habit of thinking that all of this is real and the attachment to a certain arrangement, agreement that feels they want to be stable. This is logs on a fast river. It's changing. So understanding that true compassion is a compassion that is not blinded by illusion and dualistic fixation. It's a compassion that comes from wisdom and that is efficient, like the book the lawyers have. This is efficient compassion. And that's all that's left. So now the questions that I have is, do I have this? Do I have this? You know, and if I don't have it, how come I'm not spending all my time to have it? Because all the rest is floating, everything is falling apart. You know, like we have America, the best country in America. Okay, we're very happy and proud of this, right? And then we have the best currency. And then in Saudi Arabia, pull the plug and then get back the trillions of dollars they hold on bonds. A dollar, which is gone. You know, and just disappear. And so all these, how we call this, monopoly money, will just appear for what it is. And then, because this monopoly money is connected with brick and mortar will fall apart. You know, everything will fall. And this is very likely to happen. Maybe we've got enough still good karma so that the situation still coalesces in this way, and then we can still drive our cars. But it will change one day, you know. And if this happens when we're alive, do we have what it takes to float on the log on the fast river? And that's what matters. The only thing that matters is this question: do I have it? How much can I rely upon it? And for me, it's kind of a meditation like Shaman Rinpoche in the Path of Awakening invites us to meditate on our body being a corpse and then turn into a skeleton. And then all the parts of the skeletons are falling apart and so on. And then just like they become so big and then they cover the entire length, you know, from sea to shining sea. And he said, Rinpoche said, like, but don't let your bones fall into the ocean, right? Just on the shore, okay? And what is left when this happens? When you're just, you know, what's your body just, it's just a bunch of bones from the East Coast to the West Coast. Is your skull in the Midwest? And what is left? Do I have what it takes? And of course, we only know that we have what it takes when push comes to shove. Because we always think, or we can always think that we have what it takes. You know, so I think it's important every time we have a major challenge in our life to ask ourselves the question, do I have what it takes to go through this? Or am I lost at sea and then drowning in that the quick water, because I can't stay on this spinning log going down the quick river. And if I don't have what it takes then try to keep your head above the water and survive. And then next, as you're back to some social or whatever, work essentially mainly at getting what it is. All the rest, all the rest is secondary, really. Some context might be useful and important to do whatever has to be done, like the loaders, they have to get the logs down, okay? That's the job. But the main thing is, if you can't stand on that log, and I'm just really amazed how they can do that. If you can't stand on that log, that you'll be of very, very little use when the manure hits the fan. You'll be very, very little help for yourself and for others. Okay, that was my optimistic thought of the day. It's not supposed to make you sad, okay? The state of the world can make you sad and should, otherwise you're blind. But it's kind of a wake-up call. It's like, oh, yeah. And this gives you dynamism, force, determination, because you know what you have to do. You know where your job is, and then you put everything you have into that. And then the outcome will be much better than any investment on Wall Street. Okay? Let's go back to our silent contemplation. Let's share the merit of this practice with everyone. For this merit, may I attain true omniscience, then, having overcome harmful, destructive forces, may I liberate sentient beings from the ocean of existence, in its turbulent waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. May the most precious mind of awakening that has not yet dawned have rise. Once arisen, may it never decline. May it continue to increase evermore. Thank you very much. Thank you, friends from over the rainbow. Have a good day, and see you next time we see each other.